Hello and welcome to the very first Vcast of Earth and Space Science, the geology half of it, and this is probably the very first Vcast you may have ever seen. Since that's the case, we're going to keep these very short and simple at the beginning. This one's only a few minutes long. You should have noticed after the title there were objectives. I think just one set of objectives for this Vcast. Those are what you really want to key into when you are listening and watching these Vcasts. You can't just write down what's on the screen. You can't just pay attention to what I'm saying. You got to do both. And you want to write down anything that pertains to those objectives. All right. So this one's pretty straightforward. We're just looking at the four branches of sciences that come together to make the whole of Earth science. All right. Earth and space science is actually a collection of four different sciences: geology, meteorology, oceanography, and astronomy. We're just going to take a quick look at each one of these, what they are, what they cover, and some other little details. So first, geology. All right, let's go ahead and define geology. Geology is the study of the Earth, the materials of which it is made, the structures of those materials, and the processes acting upon them. So yes, we're going to look at rocks and minerals. We're going to study how to identify certain minerals at the beginning, then we're going to work up to rocks, and then we're going to tell you or try to figure out what those rocks tell us, how they formed, and those structures like these mountains here. All right, how do these mountains form? All right, why are those layers all tilted as the way they are? So we're going to spend a lot of time here in geology looking at rocks, minerals. We're going to learn how to figure out how old the Earth is. We're going to look at volcanoes. We're going to look at other processes that change and form the Earth. And really, there's two divisions of geology. The first one's physical geology, and that's the examination of materials that make up the Earth and the possible explanations for the many processes that shape our planet. So we're going to look at the rocks, the minerals, all right, the basic composition of it, the different layers of the Earth. We're going to also try to figure out some of the possible explanations for things like the shapes of the continents. Where did certain volcanoes or mountain ranges come from? All right, why are certain mountains volcanoes and others not? But we're also going to look, once we have a good understanding of how we think these things formed, also the historical part of geology, which looks at the 4.5 billion years of Earth's history. What was it like, and how has it changed? The next branch that we're going to look at is just meteorology, and this is a pretty cool shelf cloud. But meteorology is just the study of the atmosphere and the processes that produce weather and climate. All right. What's the difference between weather and climate? Weather is short-term variations, all right, in the atmosphere, the different temperatures on a day-to-day basis. All right, whether it's raining or not. Climate, on the other hand, is a very long, like 30-year average of the weather conditions, the temperatures, and does it rain, or is it really dry, or things like that. Oceanography. All right, oceanography is kind of cool. All right, it's the study and composition of the movements of seawater, as well as the coastal processes, seafloor topography, and marine life. So you've got the fishes and the things that live in the water. You have the circulation, things that cause El Nino and La Nina, which are related to the meteorology. We have things, coastal processes, where you get seamounts and things like that, coastal erosion, longshore currents. All right, seafloor topography, or things like deep sea trenches and mid-ocean ridges and things like that. The final branch here is astronomy. All right, it's astronomy, not astrology. All right, astrology is getting your fortune by the stars. Astronomy is just the science that deals with the universe beyond the Earth, which is a very broad and kind of vague definition, but it covers everything outside of the Earth's atmosphere, from moons, stars, planets, black holes, asteroids, all those things, down to the smallest fundamental forces of nature, to the largest things, the scale of galaxies, super clusters of galaxies, the entire universe itself, getting into cosmology about when did the universe form, all right? Or is it infinitely old? Is there an edge to the universe, or does it go on forever? All right, these things are the questions and the topics that astronomy covers. These are the 4 branches, and that's the end of this Vcast. So again, take a quick look at your notes. Make sure you have met the objectives for this Vcast. If not, you can always rewind, go back, and take a look.